A critical move has come from the Ukrainian army. The troops that the Russian army directed to a different point are very seriously cornered this time. While the Kursk process was going on, the fact that the Ukrainian army cornered Russian soldiers in a different area prepared the ground for the revelation of another important element that will change everything now. And it was precisely at this point that the Ukrainian army moved to take that critical step. In the recent times of the Ukrainian war, the Ukrainian army began to make very serious preparations against the Russian army. Putin, who is aware of this, has started to increase many security measures from a regional point of view, but he has not achieved what he wanted. The most important reason for this was that some problems were triggered that would allow Putin to face even bigger problems now. And it was precisely at this point that Putin's wrong decision changed everything. The Ukrainian army was strong enough to start a process that was basically quite advanced against the Russian army. Along with the process called the trigger of these recent problems in Russia, Putin, who aimed to launch an attack against the Ukrainian army from a different point, began to direct many of his troops towards near Kharkiv. This would also be recorded as the trigger for the victories that would be achieved from a regional point of view. But with this last detail, which Putin forgot, everything would now turn in favor of the Ukrainian army. And this event, described as the beginning of a process in which the entire dominance of Russian soldiers would disappear, would change everything. The whole world was aware that Russia was currently trying to deal with too many problems at the same time. In particular, seeing how invalid Putin's policies were was also a great indicator of how things actually worked. It was of great importance that a large number of countries that were called anti-Putin now openly gave full support to Ukraine. While these operations were based on more qualified operations, they made it impossible for the Russian army to enter Kiev. At this point, there was also a significant change in the moves made by the Ukrainian army against the Russian army. The Ukrainian army, which had made such a big offensive move for the first time in the war that had lasted for 29 months, had now announced its advance in all areas. But what happened shortly before that caused that step to be taken that will form the basis of Kursk. Although Putin had enough troops in Bakhmut and the surrounding regions against the Ukrainian army, he was aware that he could not get the efficiency he wanted. The most important reason for this was the military superiority established by Ukraine. The fact that the defense lines in the region had adequate equipment,